Ow. What's up, everyone? Punchy back with Higurashi When They Cry. Chapter 2, Nagashi. Back to the emotional episode of Punchy Mayabara. As you can probably tell with the continuing music in the background. We, last time, it was, well, in the very beginning, Mian went really weird, doing the thing that the crazy people in this always do with, repeating the words. And, like, she started shaking weirdly while we were on the ladder. Rena with a bunch of adults came. She was fine. We were weirded out by her. We walked away as everyone was looking. We started crying. Rena came. We're afraid she's going to disappear. I'm personally still wondering if she is going to turn curse form. This chapter. It'll be interesting to see if she doesn't, because that's like literally all I know of like the evil things. There's a lot more Punchy being in the, like, more interwoven with the characters and just with Hinazawa in general, which is really, really interesting. We just came back from crying with Rena, I guess, and we're talking to Mian and not eating miso soup. Punchy-chan, I know it's hard, but let's turn in for the night. We just decided we should break up the search for now. Drink this and let's call it quits. Is this the end? Oh no, of course not. Once it's brought out again, we'll do a thorough search with the police's help. We could have gone to Okinomiya too. People are even saying we should go through all of the Shishibon City investigating whether there are any witnesses for both girls and the mayor. Anyway, what happened, Punchy-chan? Where did you go off to? You vanished all of a sudden. I was really worried. Were you, though? Suddenly, I was on the receiving end, but I didn't have the willpower to respond. Sorry, I'll be more careful. Nothing happened? There wasn't anyone suspicious spying on you or stalking you? Nothing like that? Mian demanded with a serious expression. I was being criticized for how inconsiderate I had been. Despite being in so much pain, I was frustrated that I was being criticized, but it was my sin. My sin, and I must bear it alone. Nothing. I'll be careful either way. Sorry. Mian, now aware that nothing had happened, heaved a big sigh with his shoulders and looked relieved. Where'd she go? Oh, my. I knew I smelled something good coming from over here. I'd be much obliged if you'd allow me to have some. We heard the repulsive voice of a fat man. It was Ooishi-san, trailed by a handful of police officers. He was acting energetically in a way unfitting, given the situation. There's not much left, but you can have some if you want. Mian didn't like Ooishi-san very much. Her cold attitude, though, didn't seem to bother Ooishi-san in the slightest. It was like splashing water in a frog's face. Well now, miso soup leftovers have a bit too much salt for my taste. Confound it. Would you all like any? He recommended to subordinates, but everyone gave dry smiles and refused. So have the police got hold of any clues? Rena's smile was warm enough to replace the miso soup. Don't worry, little missy. Everything's fine. We're searching for them real good. He didn't say a word about having found any new clues. In other words, there had been no progress. That sure was an annoying way of beating around the bush. In any case, it really has gotten late. All of you youngsters should get on home and get some sleep. It'll be bad for your health otherwise. Yeah, Punchy-chan, Rena, get some rest. These guys get our tax money. They'll handle it from here for us. We're taxpayers too, you know. It's like we're drinking from our own piss. What a weird guy. I really wasn't in the mood for laughter. In fact, Ooishi-san was the only one laughing like an idiot. Okay, seriously, please do your best. Let's go home, Punchy-kun. It'll be harder to wake up tomorrow if we don't. Yes, that's right. I can always bring you home if you need. Kumba-chan, why don't you bring the car around? No thanks. We came on our bicycles, so... No need to worry. We came in a truck. We'll just throw the bikes in the back. We may have gotten pretty sleepy, but we just needed to ride home at this point. I didn't want to bother the police like that. Rena, however, nodded. Okay, if you insist, we'd appreciate it. It's probably safer than if we went back alone. When I thought about it carefully, I realized that Rena's idea was extremely rational. Now that it's decided, let's get a move on, shall we? Okay, bye. Good night. Rena, Punchy-chan. Yeah. Mi-chan, you go to bed soon too, okay? Good night. I waved my hand as well, saying goodbye. Rika and Satoko still hadn't been found. My unease, however, was steadily being pushed away by sleepiness. When I showed the police where our bicycles were so that Ooishi-san could haul them up into the truck, he prompted us to get into the back seat. I could hear the spring squeaking as I sat down onto a seat that would normally hurt my rear end, but at this point it was very soft and was more than comfortable enough for me to fall asleep on. Ladies first. We'll start with the little Mrs. House. Where do you live? Thank you. My house is well... Okay. Oh, Punchy must have fallen asleep. Oh no, we're gonna be left alone with Ooishi. This isn't gonna be good. Rena's voice slowly grew distant. I felt myself being sucked into the void of sleep. Hello? Meibar-san, are you asleep back there? When I came to, it was quiet. The car had was parked. Ooishi-san was giving me a light slap on the cheek. It didn't feel good at all, so I woke up immediately. I'm sorry, I just fell asleep. Something was being held right under my right nose. A clump of metal? It was a can of coffee. It's lukewarm by now, but cafe au lait is good even at room temperature. Oh, thanks. I mechanically took the can and opened the pull top. The feeling of warm, sweet liquid going down my throat awakened my sleepy mind. When my drowsiness receded, I started wanting to know why the car was stopped, and why I was offered coffee. Ooishi-san, who had been in the driver's seat at some point, had moved to the back. Ah, shit, here we go. Suddenly, I had a very bad feeling about this. It reminded me of the questioning yesterday at the library. That was so long ago, that was just yesterday? It was already too late by the time I realized I'd made a mistake. Today, of all days, it didn't look like I would be getting away. I had a feeling that Ooishi-san heard what he wanted to. Oh, that until Ooishi-san heard what he wanted to, he wouldn't be letting me go. Please don't get all formal on me. I'm not going to eat you or anything. Meibar-san? Ooishi-san gulped down the last of his coffee, then stretched wide, showing me how relaxed he was. That, however, only served to heighten my nervousness. What do you need from me? Need? Oh no, nothing really. You're going to evade the question at this point? What a deeply unreadable man. Well, I don't need you for anything. I just thought that you might need something from me, Meibar-san. I don't need anything. Oh, I see. Really? Are you sure there's nothing? There's only one side door in the back seat of this truck. In other words, my only exit was blocked off by Ooishi-san. I couldn't get away. I could only limply hang my head and maintain my silence. Ooishi-san, despite my reticence, relaxed and began smoking a cigarette. The cries of the insects outside seemed to be growing longer and longer, to an amount of time that almost seemed infinite. Here I was sure that you had something you wanted to talk to me about. Ooishi-san exhaled a puff of smoke. The windows were open, but the tobacco smoke still accumulated inside the vehicle. How much did Ooishi-san know? What did he know, and what did he want to hear from me? If finding out the truth made you disappear, and if I told him, would Ooishi-san disappear too? I had a feeling that I didn't need to worry about that in his case. I wonder how all this ended up happening. Ooishi-san addressed me in a low tone, as if he were talking to himself. How all this ended up happening? How the hell should I know? That was what I wanted to know. You know Ch.2 Tomitake-san and Mio Takano-san, right? I know you do, because I personally witnessed you with them during the festival, along with Shion Sonozaki-san. Do you know how Tomitake-san and Takano-san are doing now? They've actually, well, passed away. They met very untimely deaths. Ooishi-san probably played that card in order to surprise me. However, I already knew, and didn't display the extreme reaction he expected. What's this? Did you already know? Unfortunately, for this question in particular, remaining silent was equivalent of saying yes. Oh, so then did you also know? The reason Tomitake-san and Takano-san were cursed like that? People are saying that apparently they went into some forbidden building. The storehouse for ritual implements. That forbidden shed sealing away Hinamizawa's blood-stained past. Where the mistake that started it all happened. Do you know about the rumors that the mayor and Rika Furude-san were cursed because of that too? That would mean it was mine and Shion's fault. He was right. As soon as we revealed what we did... What do they call it? A ritual storehouse? They're saying it was bad luck to lock it. The lock to had been replaced by a simpler one, which made it easier for thieves to get inside. What? This was news to me. Until last year, it had apparently had these big bars and a huge padlock on it. I mean, you know, ever since the priest and his wife passed away, Rika Furude-san had been managing the place, right? Apparently, she talked to the mayor, saying she wanted them replaced with a lighter, more simpler padlock because the bars were too heavy for her. I didn't know anything about those big bars he was talking about, but the lock had certainly been a simple one. It was a pretty cheap one too, and didn't really fit my impression of what a lock for a place that you'd store something as important as ritual implements would look like. Rika-san is a small girl after all. The bars were heavy with rust, and they must have caused her a lot of trouble. So the mayor hired a craftsman and replaced the lock with a simpler padlock so she could open it with a key. So how does that mean it was bad luck? Here's what I'm saying. Thieves couldn't get in with the old tight lock. The mayor and Rika-san replaced it with a cheap lock and a key on their own, so thieves broke into it. Apparently, that's how it's going down. That explanation's a bit. Letting that slide, certain members of the village delivered punishment upon the thieves who stole into the ritual storehouse, as well as the mayor and Rika-san, who changed the lock. At least, those are the whispers that seem to be going around. Mayor Bar-san, what do you think? What do I think? I don't really know what you mean by certain members of the village. Are you familiar with the three families? Representatives from each of them gave short addresses at the Watanagashi Festival opening ceremony. Did you see them? I came partway through the festival, so I don't really... The three families are the three oldest families in Hinamizawa. To give actual names, the Kimiyoshi family, the Sonozaki family, and the Furude family. They each have quite the lineage, it seems. Long ago, it's said that everything in the village was decided by a council of the three families. The Kimiyoshi family Old man Kimiyoshi, meaning the mayor's family. Oh, that's me, just thinking now. The Sonozaki family was Miyan's. So the Furude family was Rika-chan's family then? After the war, the Sonozaki family quickly expanded their influence. Practically speaking, after leading the fight against the construction during the dam conflict, they jumped to the top of the hierarchy in Hinamazawa. You see, though, in accordance with the old ways, they still decide important village matters after only consulting with the three families. That's why the leaders of the three families each have their own addresses at the start of Watanagashi. In other words, the mayor, the old lady currently in charge of the Sonozaki family, and the last remaining member of the Furude family, Rika-san. I heard that the Sonozaki family was pretty high up there, so Rika-chan's family was just as old? Well, as you're aware, she has no relatives at all. In reality, the Furude family holds pretty much no influence. However, it seems like people gravitate towards Rika-san on a personal level, and I hear that many of the villagers elderly have blind faith in her. It was certainly true that Rika-chan had an odd sort of charisma amongst the elderly. So, what are you telling me about all of this three family stuff for? Ooishi-san paused for emphasis, lighting another cigarette. I've explained a lot, but I suppose it's still not enough. I'm asking because I don't understand. Ooishi-san gave me a dry, meaningful grin, and blew out another big puff of smoke. Members of the three families are disappearing one after the other. That's what I'm talking about. I've read that it's based on some kind of old traditions inherent in Hinamazawa, but I don't know much beyond that. I don't know anything about it either. That's why I'm asking. The leaders of the Kimiyoshi and Furude families have disappeared, so maybe the leaders of the Sonozaki family will disappear next. Well, that's just a random idea bouncing around in my head at the moment. Just kidding, really. The leader of the Sonozaki family? Who is it? The current leader is the old lady at their main house, but it wouldn't be incorrect to say that practically all the rights of leadership have been transferred to her granddaughter, Miyan-san. The visage of Miyan giving prompt directions to the adults while searching for Rika-chan sprung back to my mind. Miyan? She's gonna disappear? I hadn't even thought of that possibility. All of my hair stood on end. That's insane. Nobody wants that, right? Of course not. We can't allow that. Clamp. Ooishi-san grabbed my shoulder with both hands. Then help us, Mirabara-san. If there's anything you've noticed about me and Sonozaki lately, please tell me. I was going along with him? By the time I'd realized it, it was too late. Ooishi-san brought his face closer, almost close enough to ram into me, waiting for my next words. This pressure. I can't turn my eyes away from his. That moment, I heard a beeping sound. It was from the driver's seat. He ignored it at first, but then it started to bother him, so he finally let go of me and leaned into the driver's seat. Hello? Yep, loud and clear. I was saved. Of course, it's not like I could escape through this opening. I see. Yes, alright. Let's head back then. Yes. Okay. Apparently, he was being recalled. Now that I knew I'd be freed, the tension in my body just dissipated all at once. It looks like I need to get going. We were just getting to the good part too. That's too bad. Ooishi-san flung open the door, exited, and walked around the front of the driver's seat. He left the door open. Did that mean I could leave? You really care about your friends, Mirabara-san, an admirable trait for a kid to have in this day and age. I totally understand that it feels like you'd be betraying them if you told the police anything. Mirabara-san, it's the middle of the night, so get a good night's sleep, and then think about it. Just a little bit of courage from you might end up being what saves many of your friends in the end. Did he want me to say that sacrifices wouldn't stop with Rika-chan and Satoko? Nope, that's my chair creaking, sorry. You know this already, but every night since Watanagashi, something has happened. In the past, the curse only occurred once per year, but this time it's been going on for days. What a prosperous year this has been. I don't think you can call that prosperous. The night before last night, and now today. There's no proof that something won't happen tomorrow night as well. It's our job to prevent such things before they happen, but for that, we need your cooperation, Mirabara-san. I looked out the open door to see none other than my own house right in front of me. It creeped me out that he knew my name and address, but I was too sleepy right now. I was too sleepy to care. Well, you're probably tired. It's already 3 in the morning. Please get yourself a good rest. Yes, sir. I'll be going now. When I was about to get out of the truck, as if to deliver a parting blow, Ooishi-san said in a raised voice, I'll be coming by every day until you feel like talking. All right? I don't believe forcing you to confess in an interrogation room is really in fashion these days. I couldn't say anything in response, but me slamming the door shut probably served the same purpose. After lightly beeping the horn, Ooishi-san's truck drove off. I went through the front door without waving goodbye. The door was locked, but the chain wasn't up. I unlocked the door and entered. Then walked over to the staircase. Did you close the door? That was where I lost consciousness. Huh. Not gonna be the best night's sleep for Punchy. Well. Wow, it's already 20 minutes. That video flew by. Didn't feel like it. Alright, let's get to these new tips, eh? From the Scrapbook 9, elderly leader of the Sonozaki family. Oh, the elder leader of the Sonozaki family? From the Scrapbook 10, and request denied. From the Scrapbook 9. The Sonozaki family. The one to drastically expand its influence after the war was the Sonozaki family. The leader at the time was Oryu Sonozaki, who still has the seat today. Oryu Sonozaki has grown old, and today can only catch a glimpse of who she was at the time. Oh, you can only catch a glimpse. For what I've been told, however, she was the leader extolled as the best in history. Having become so old, aside from going out a few times a week for lessons, she spends her time at home in solitude. She seems to leave most of the ceremonial affairs to her heir, Mion. There are different views on why the successor was not her daughter, but her granddaughter Mion. It's rumored that has to do with the disownment of her daughter and son-in-law. Interesting. I was just thinking that. The uninhibited granddaughter, Mion Sonozaki, still shows no signs of the dignity required of the next leader. However, she does have Sonozaki blood in her veins and is permitted the name Demon. What do you mean permitted? She still doubtlessly requires caution and is probably hiding her fangs and claws as skillfully as the leaders of the past did. Man, Takano had a lot of notes. Really good notes too. So, yeah, Mion is hiding, I guess, herself, as we can see with the cursed child thing. Cursed children. The elder leader of the Sonozaki family? Yes, the postal worker hasn't seen anything either. The Sonozaki main house has their seal hanging from the mailbox so that anyone can stamp their mail and parcels with it and drop it in. Haha, that's rather careless of them. So when was she last seen? She was last seen at the Wachinagashi opening ceremony greetings. She apparently returned home right after that. Well, she is pretty old. From what I've heard, she goes out a few times a week to take lessons, right? Have you found anything out about that? Every Monday she goes to the assembly hall to practice the Taishogoto, but she didn't go this week. Any calls to say she wasn't going to be there? Has anyone confirmed it? No, nobody. She apparently takes days off once in a while though, so no one thought it was strange. Tomorrow, Why don't we pretend we're in town hall and call around 10 o'clock? Please figure out whether she's at home. 10 o'clock? Got it. I recently started to see more and more like ancient traditions had something to do with all this. He'd been keeping a careful eye on the three families. At this point, the leader of the Kimiyoshi family and the leader of the Furude family have disappeared. So there's only one leader left, Oryu Sonozaki, the leader of the Sonozaki family. She was apparently a pretty old woman. Her dignity hasn't waned, but she still only appeared before people rarely. So it was difficult to confirm where she was at any given time. She, the last leader, hadn't been seen since the day of the Watanagashi. Was she still alive and well within the Sonozaki main house? Or had she... According to Mina Sonozaki, she had fallen ill and was sleeping it off. I wonder if she's really sleeping. I'd like to take a look at her face and her pulse. You can say that again. The two of them breathed out a big puff of cigarette smoke. Ooishi-san, about the search warrants for the Sonozaki main house and the Furude shrine. Do you think we'll get them? Ooishi didn't respond. He exhaled another cloud of tobacco smoke. His surroundings now as foggy as his mind. Wow, so the grandma might be dead. I think that's what they were getting at. Man, it's gone crazy. Right, from the scrapbook 10. The Hidden Demon. The inhabitants of Hinamazawa believe that the blood of demons flows in their blood. As such, the character for demon that is treated as very sacred. For example, usage of the character in names is apparently a right reserved for only the leaders of the Kimiyoshi and Sonozaki families. Case in point, we can see it in the current Sonozaki family leader's name, Oryu, is written with the character, This, and only this, is proof that she is a legitimate leader of the Sonozaki family. In the same way, Mi Sonozaki, its successor, contains in her name, with Mi being written as. It also goes for Oryu's daughter and Mien's mother, Akane, who did not succeed her. It's known that before the disowning, Akane's name was actually written as, though it was changed afterwards to still read Akane. Incidentally, it's thought that the first character, the Mayor Kichiro's name, originally meant demon, which can also be written as Ki. It should be said that the names of the character that aren't limited only to successors of the Sonozaki family. You can even find it in the last names of the three families. For example, the characters for Kimiyoshi are likely a split-up version of, if you write it in reverse from top to bottom, as it clearly resembles the character. As for the Furude family, who have been in Shinto priesthood for generations, the word fortune teller can be written without interval characters as. I think that with the addition of the demon's horn, the tick on the top of the character, became the that is used for their name now. In the case of the Sonozaki family, where Sonozaki is written, I can't find any reference to the character, perhaps because it's already ingrained into their first name. They were the clan responsible for running the Watanagashi ceremony, so I think that instead included the content of that ceremony into their last name. The Zaki in Sonozaki is the conjugation of the word slice, and sono, written as, probably contains a hidden meaning of human body, as it is a complicated mess, organs enclosed by four sides. I think, in other words, that Sonozaki comes from those who slice open the gut. Oof. Man, we're about to go over this one because of all the notes, but some informative stuff here. Although that one was kind of hard because it didn't show the character, and I don't know how to read that. Alright, and request denied. So I'm guessing it's the request for the warrants to search. I'm back. How did it go? Did you find any clues? The officers shook their heads in disappointment. Exhaustion was plainly showing on everyone's faces. That was only natural. None of them had gotten a wink of sleep since the day of the Watanagashi. Chief, let the youngest of us take a nap and then switch them out. We've got a long stretch ahead of us after all. Let's not push ourselves too hard. Rest up so we can take it easy as we go. I've been telling them to sleep in shifts. Nobody actually seems to be willing to sleep though. Could you tell them yourself, Ooishi-san? Oh, I thought I was talking. I thought Ooishi was talking. Oh my. You don't need to force yourselves. Komiyama-kun. Please let everyone sleep in shifts, starting with the youngest. Komiyama-san. Please do that. After the chief told him as well, Komiyama-san left his seat. So chief, still no good on our requests? It's just a rumor among the villagers in the first place, you know. It's going to be difficult without more concrete evidence. Even when that evidence might be tucked away in there? We need evidence that evidence is tucked away in there. Chief, don't start speaking riddles to me now. We have witnesses to say 4 people, including the 2 who died, went to the forbidden ritual storehouse without permission. This is all reliable information. You might call it information, but they're really only rumors. They're not concrete evidence. Well, it's true that we don't get any pictures of the 4 of them. I don't have any pictures of the 4 of them sneaking in with cloth tied around their heads. Anyway, those 4 saw something inside the storehouse. Something important enough that they'd be erased. Important enough that they'd be erased? What would that be exactly? That's why I'm asking for a warrant to go looking for it in the first place. Anyway, pointing out the Sonozaki family's connections to violent organizations would be a major contender, like a pile of Tokarevs or a secret poppy production facility. The secret Sonozaki family fortune would also be pretty difficult to discard. Look, Ooishi-san, I know how you feel. However, that storehouse is a sacred building belonging to the Furude Shrine. We need to have proper consideration for the locals when dealing with it. I heard that there was an hour-long call made from Congressman Sonozaki to the big man. Chief, could he have nailed you back down? Anyway, as long as we don't have any suitable evidence, we won't get a search warrant for the storehouse. That goes for the Sonozaki main house too, especially considering that's the jurisdiction of both Section 4 and the Prefectural Police's Crime Prevention Division. We need careful preparations first. If you say you need preparations, then why don't you just let me talk with them directly? Shinge-chan is the head of Section 4, right? For crime prevention, it's Yamoimi-san. They seem like they'd be quicker to talk if I sat down at a mahjong table. Chief, you have a visitor. Yikes. Pushing the employee who guided him in right out of the way was an old man who looked like a Yakuza member, given his crested kimono and hakama. Do you not get enough of this over the phone? I am Congressman Sonozaki. I demand to know who's responsible for this instant. Hello, I am the Division Chief Takasugi. I don't need your name. I could have you demoted on a whim. You wouldn't even be enough. Bring out the one called Ooishi or whatever. He deserves punishment for requesting a search warrant on the sacred Furude Shrine. I sincerely apologize. Ooishi-san is currently out on an investigation. He's been difficult to contact. I'll take his place and hear you out. So please, have a seat. The chief's eyes were telling me to get out of here. Perhaps I'll gratefully accept this favor. Maybe I'll go lay down in the nap room. Listen here, the Furude Shrine spent 2,600 years under the imperial calendar and 2,500 more beyond that. It is sacred, a sanctuary that must never be defiled. The 800,000 gods, Ooishi-sama, and the spirits of our ancestors are enshrined there. The holy shrine protects Himaza from when the sun comes up to when it sets, and from when the moon rises to when it falls. Who is the idiot who wanted to set foot in there? Besides, the right to religion is the most revered right of the people of this country in the Constitution. You dare to be so bold as to sully that using your own investigation negligence as pretext? I cannot, I will not allow it. Are you listening, you lying scum? Okay, I know we're in the middle of a thing here, but I'm getting way over time, and I'm going to do another video anyway. So I'm going to stop it there for this time, while we're getting yelled at from Congressman Sonozaki. Came all the way from there. Thanks for watching, guys. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.